recorded.
The gentleman is not recorded. Mr. Neguse, aye.
Clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 6 nays.
And the noes have it. The amendment's not agreed to. Are there further amendments?
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment number 7.
Gentleman's recognized. Oh, excuse me, the clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment number 7 to House Resolution 918, offered by Mr. McGovern. Strike Section 6.
Gentleman's recognized to explain his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This impeachment inquiry resolution deems as passed a second resolution regarding the enforcement of subpoenas in court, including potentially dragging 2 nonpartisan career prosecutors to court when their supervisor already participated in a transcribed interview. And my amendment doesn't even stop you from doing that. All I'm saying is that rather than deeming this resolution, let's consider it separately on the floor and let the House decide. Let's just recap for those just tuning in what happened right before this committee went into recess. Democrats brought up an amendment to insert words "open and transparent" into the Republicans' impeachment resolution. You all voted no. Democrats brought up an amendment to require at least 1 public hearing on impeachment. My friends voted no. I asked when the transcripts of their behind closed doors interviews would be released. They told us they'd have to get back to us. And I think what's going on here is pretty clear. They're against transparency because this whole exercise is built on Republicans going on Fox News and mischaracterizing, let's be honest, lying about the evidence. They interview someone in private who says President Biden did nothing wrong. Then they go on Fox News and literally say the opposite. I'll give you an example. My friend from Texas, Mr. Roy, keeps harping on the need to bring in 2 career prosecutors, who I'm not going to reference by name because they're getting death threats. But what he doesn't tell you is that Republicans already dragged in their boss to testify before the Judiciary Committee on October 25th. And his testimony totally undercuts and debunks all of the absurd claims that my colleague from Texas keeps making. Now, I'm told that Mr. Roy wasn't at that interview. I don't know why he didn't show up, but maybe if he showed up, he would know that his allegations have been repeatedly disproven. But that's just one example of why Republicans don't want transparency. That's why they don't want public hearings. They know that unless they do this behind closed doors, this whole extreme political stunt will evaporate because their lies will be exposed. And so they voted no on transparency and openness and no on open hearings. I think at the very least, Republicans should be more transparent and require a separate vote on a resolution authorizing our committees to go to court. And with that, I would urge a yes vote on my amendment, and I yield back my time.
Gentleman yields back. Is there further discussion or debate on the amendment?
Mr. Chairman,
The gentleman from New York is recognized.
I'm not really going to address that amendment, but my Democratic colleagues have tried to argue that the committees have experienced historic levels of cooperation from the White House and from the administration, and clearly they've been taking their talking points directly from the White House. The committees have had to use all the tools in their toolbox to get compliance, and still the White House is refusing to provide documents and witnesses in the furtherance of this investigation. Let's start with the suspicious activities reports. In the past, when Congress requested SARs, the Treasury Department provided them. But in a policy change, the Biden administration has refused. Only when the Oversight Committee noticed a hearing to discuss this obstruction did the Treasury Department provide them, but only in camera. Let's look at the bank records. Chairman Comer has had to subpoena the banks for those records. Let's talk about FBI's FD 1023 form. This was a document that the FBI created based on information provided by a trusted confidential informant. The document details a bribery scheme involving Joe and Hunter Biden. When the Oversight Committee subpoenaed this document, the FBI initially wouldn't even acknowledge that the document existed. It took to the eve of a contempt markup of FBI Director Wray to gain access to this document. Again and again, the committees have had to fight to obtain records, information, and testimony to which they are entitled. In another example, the Oversight Committee has been requesting for months all the pseudonym emails when Joe Biden was vice president. He even used his pseudonym to communicate with Hunter Biden's associates. There are at least 80,000 pages of emails that we know of. The Biden White House only produced 14 pages until the committee noticed this markup for the impeachment inquiry resolution. Even the White House has stated in writing that it does not plan to cooperate with this impeachment inquiry absent a vote. The House of Representatives needs this impeachment inquiry resolution to move forward in this investigation, to understand why President Biden continues to lie about his involvement with his family's business schemes. He has lied about knowing his son's business dealings, the source of his son's funds, about having contact with his son's business associates, benefiting from his son's businesses, his son doing anything wrong. Why does the president continue to lie? How deep was his role in his son's business schemes? And these schemes involve foreign oligarchs and CCP officials. They involve getting millions of dollars in exchange for no known good or service. They involved over 20 shell companies. We have evidence of direct payments to Joe Biden from his brother James and from Hunter. Hunter even paid Joe directly from the business account, an account that received millions from the CCP. If they were just loan repayments, where are the loan documents? The committees have asked for those loan documents. They've received nothing. And even if they were loan repayments, Joe Biden was still getting money from the CCP. Did he know it was from the CCP? These are why we need to do this investigation and this inquiry. These are the questions that still need to be answered, and why this impeachment inquiry resolution is absolutely needed. And I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back. Is there further discussion or debate on the amendment?
Yeah, Mr.
Gentleman's
Chairman,
recognized.
Yeah. Boy, it's just really amazing to hear some of the stuff that gets set up here. The bottom line is everything the gentleman said has been disproven and debunked. I mean, there's no there. There's not even any smoke. And that's why earlier I read a list. I only read like the first 10 names of Republican members, many who are on the committees of jurisdiction who have basically said there's no there. But be that as it may, I mean, we are here because Donald Trump wants us to be here. We are here because this is a convenient distraction for my Republican friends for the fact that they have accomplished absolutely nothing, not a thing for the American people since they took control of this House. We are here because they're trying to finish the job they couldn't get done on January 6th, and that is they want to overturn the last election. That is why we are here. It is as clear as day. And so, you know, all these documents that the gentleman refers to that, by the way, it seems that these committees are getting, again, you know, why can't we at least why can't we demand that the committees who get it file a report? Why can't we demand that they at least do one public hearing? Why can't we demand, you know, any transparency or any openness? So this is, you know, those are bad talking points, let me just say. So whoever put them together, I think, you know, did my friend a disservice. But again, this is not a radical amendment. It's just to me, common sense. And again, I hope all my colleagues will vote yes. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Is there any further discussion or debate on the amendment?
Mr. Chair, yes.
Gentlelady from New Mexico is recognized.
Thank you so very much. And I think that this, once again, proves the fact that we need, what we just heard, demonstrates that we need public hearings so that the public can listen to the witnesses. They can see how they are asked questions, what the answers are, so it's very clear. Because we have evidence from the record, because they're of these like 90,000-page documents that have been produced that show that this loan that my colleague was referred to happened back in 2017, before President Biden had even announced his run for presidency. So it has nothing to do with what the president has done while serving in office these last 3 years, which is an incredible job, the most significant legislative achievement since the New Deal, in contrast to what we've done here, which is absolutely nothing. And the records show, the bank records show, that yes, there was a loan, and it was repaid, and that when it was repaid, there was precisely annotation saying this is for the repayment of a loan, period, in 2017 and 2018. This is the kind of information that's already significantly sort of in the record. We've gone over and over again with it. And I need to say that multiple independent fact checkers, including the Washington Examiner, which we know the Washington Examiner is not a left-leaning organization, that they have fact-checked that and proven otherwise than the allegations we are hearing. And so with that, I yield back, Mr.
Gentlelady yields back. Is there further discussion or debate on the amendment?
Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Yeah, our colleagues on the other side of the aisle keep referring to, quote, extraordinary cooperation with the Justice Department, and then just raise questions about who was at a particular interview or not. I think that particular questioning was just Chairman Jordan, given whatever was going on that day. I think it was a circumstance in which he was the only one that was available on the time. But in any event, we're privy to what was discussed, and the fact is the Justice Department has been essentially unilaterally limiting the scope of what the department witnesses can testify about. That's been happening over and over and over again. When you look at the transcripts and when you look at the conversations, you know what's happening. When the witnesses come in and they're being told, hey, on this set of questions, answer, this is an ongoing investigation. That's what's actually happening. And that's, frankly, an ongoing problem that we're having to deal with, and one of the reasons that's behind the need for an inquiry is to be able to go seek the truth where it actually may lead. And if there's no there there, then I feel like my colleagues protest a little much, given what we now know in terms of the amount of money that has been flowing into the Biden family, which is concerning on its face, the extent to which we now have an indictment of the president's son concerning on its face, the extent to which we have witness testimony that has come in before under oath, talking about the extent to which the president himself was present and privy to the information involving Hunter. This is concerning on its face. The fact is, right now we have curtailment of investigative steps to protect the Bidens, why prosecutors prohibited investigators from referencing, to dad and the big guy in witness interviews. Anytime any questioning goes down that line, the DOJ has been telling people, nope, stop. You say this is nothing but ongoing investigations. The fact that we had 84,000, whatever the number is, of all of the email correspondence with the pseudonyms, and we've gotten 14 of them, on its face, this body deserves to get more information. I think this is very clear. The average American watching this would agree. I'm perfectly happy to stand behind this. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Is there further discussion or debate on the amendment? Gentleman's recognized.
Yeah, I just want to say, $2 billion from the Saudi government to Jared Kushner, and not a word. Oh, that's just normal. I mean, come on, give me a break. Again, a little transparency, I think, would be welcome here. And quite frankly, this notion that we should trust the chairs of these respective committees to tell us all that they know, when we know that they've been misrepresenting publicly what has been said privately. We'd like to see the transcripts. We'd like a little openness. That's all. The American people deserve that. The way this resolution is written, when it's all said and done with, no matter what happens, the American people may get nothing, may not get any report at the end of this process. So again, but $2 billion from the Saudi government, come on, and no questions. That's just perfectly normal. Give me a break. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Is there further discussion or debate on the amendment? Hearing none, the questions on the amendment, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it.
As for recorded vote, Mr. Chairman.
Recorded vote's been requested. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Burgess.
Burgess votes no.
Mr. Burgess, no. Mr. Reschenthaler. Mr. Reschenthaler, no. Mrs. Fishbach. Mr. Massey. Mr. Norman. No. Mr. Norman, no. Mr. Roy. No. Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin. No. Mrs. Houchin, no. Mr. Langworthy. No. Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. McGovern.
Aye.
Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon. Aye. Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse. Aye. Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Leisure-Fernandez. Aye. Ms. Leisure-Fernandez, aye. Mr. Chairman.
No.
Mr. Chairman, no.
Clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 7 nays.
The noes have it. The amendment's not agreed to.
Mr. Chairman, I have another amendment, amendment number 8.
Gentleman's recognized.